Well, the story continues. So I made up this adapter, and that worked quite well, as you should have seen on the video already. And it got the fan a lot closer, and the fan is much more effective. But I went to my local guy that I go to, Alex at FM Discount Spares in Warilla, and he had this for $50, and it's off a Challenger, and it is an 8 blade, and this one's a 6, and it's got a they look like bigger blades, but it should give me a little bit more bite, pull a little bit more air. And as it turns out, the boss here that's the size of the pump spigot. I'll have to bush this, but if we put, actually this is easier to see, if we put this over here, the holes almost line up. The holes on the Challenger unit are slightly smaller and on a slightly larger diameter. So if I can figure out how to clamp this, or pull it apart enough that I can clamp it, I'm just looking at that, but if I can clamp that on the mill, then I can just enlarge these holes, and when you put it on, that actually sits it out, with this as it is, it sits it out pretty close to where it needs to be, because that sits back over the that's the height, the front of that, the front of this is the front of the pulley, the front of the pump flange. So you only have, what, 2 millimeters or something wall thickness there. So if we compare that spacer with this sitting on it, with that, actually that should be up the other way. With that, we've got maybe a centimetre difference, but the front of it, oh yeah, the front of it is there. It's probably a centimetre further back, but given that it's got that boss poking out the front, I probably want it there anyway. So I think that if I can just adjust the, if I can just oversize the holes in here and spread them a tiny bit so that they match. Actually, they've got to come in a little bit, not out a little bit, which is better. It means that the outside will be right. If I get those so they line up, then I should be able to bolt this fan straight on without any need for any adapter or spacer. I might think about putting in a 1 centimetre spacer or something like that, maybe, but I'm not sure. I'll see what I feel like. So I took the fan off, just it was just four screws on the other side. I've put a packer in here because this part here is supposed to move freely, so I've clamped onto that packer on that side, and I'm just holding on the other side. So this could move, but I'm only I've clamped down it reasonably well, and I'm only taking a little skim out of the inside of it, so I think that should be alright. So I've centered that on my digital readout on X and Y, so I should be able to get the pitch circle diameter of these and just use this readout has got a function to drill holes on a pitch circle diameter, and I should just be able to use that to pick off exactly where those holes are supposed to be and put them through. This is a 10mm cutter, not a 3/8, so it's about 0.25mm bigger, which won't matter, but I don't have a 3/8 cutter. So I'll see if I can get those holes to the right size. So I widened those, or at least opened them up. If you look, there's a little bit of the original material in all of the 4 holes. I centered it and just calculated, well, I used a digital readout to calculate the correct positions, and we put that on there, and we have matching holes. So I challenge you to do that on a drill press. Milling machines are really handy at times. So that should bolt straight on. Need to deburr it, but that should bolt straight on, and I'm deciding whether I'll make a 1cm spacer to go on there as well, because that would put it out where the other one is. Whether a centimetre matters, I don't know. Probably. Actually, if I did make a spacer, I could make a spacer that had that diameter on the front and this board into the back, like that one. And actually, if I wanted to sacrifice this, I could cut this. I don't think I'll be going back to that other fan, so I could just cut this off. It's already got the holes drilled, and just turn a boss to suit that. And that would give me exactly what I'm looking for. Am I willing to sacrifice that? I think I am. I think that is not going to be used again, because this fan ought to be better than the other one anyway, so I shouldn't need the other one on there. I think I've just convinced myself. It saves me making up that bush as well. Alright, I might do that. I've cut that off in the saw, just chopped it up, dropped it up into here. So now I face that back, so I've got a centimetre here, and then I'll have just a boss coming out on the front to match the boss on here. So here's the machined up piece. Put back and take a little skim off that, doesn't matter. But anyway, so there it fits, and you can see it's a really nice, neat fit. And of course, it's already got those holes, because it was the previous one. So there's maybe 0.05 slop in there, but it's going to be centering it pretty nicely. So there's a 1 centimetre spacer. Only trouble is I've got these, so I've got cap screws, and they're just a little short. But I think I have the original bolts. And actually I probably don't want to socket it a cap screw now, because I can't get in the front of that. I probably want a hex head so I can get a spanner onto it. But that looks like we're getting close. The fun continues. I went and bought a set of these 5/16 high tensile bolts, and being that it is currently a fairly big deal to go to any shop because of our little world crisis, I had to queue up for 5 minutes to get into the shop, and then it was all a bit of a saga. So going straight back down, it's only a few minutes drive away, to see about getting, well, the problem is I bought them and then got them home and discovered I'd bought the 24 TPI pitch, which comes on the high tensile, and not the 18 TPI. I have a couple of bolts here, and the issue is if I put this onto the, to space that out that extra centimetre, I can't get a bolt in here that just fits. I only just get it in there, and it's not going to be long enough. So I thought if I get longer ones, they won't fit, but I can cut off a section of thread, screw that into the pump and put a nut on it, and that way I got no problems getting everything in there. But of course I bought that wrong pitch thread, and I don't have enough of these. They would do the job, but I've only got 2, and I've got stainless steel, the 4 that I made up from my previous fan incarnation, and yeah, they'd be alright, but focus, there we go. The thread isn't long enough, and that's stainless steel, and although I could put more thread onto this, it would be a real nuisance. It's stainless steel, and I've only got a low cost carbon steel tap and die set. So I could put up in the lathe and turn some thread, but that too would be a real problem. So I'm deciding whether it's worth bothering with that. I mean, it is only a centimetre, and if I don't use that, I can just put these old ones from the previous incarnation in and just put it straight onto the water pump flange, and I could make up a bush to go into there to space this diameter down to that diameter so that it locates properly. Or I could try driving over 10 minutes or 15 minutes away to see about getting some correct pitch ones of these at a shop that may not be as hard to get into as Bunnings. So I don't know what I'm going to do right now. I'll have a think about it. Here it is bolted in. So that was a lot more work than it probably should have been, but when you're trying to design this stuff, you're trying to think through a lot of different things. So we now have a clutch fan mounted. So I'll have to put the fan belt on, give it a burl and see how it looks. It's running, but it's running out on the centre, so that little bush that I made obviously isn't sitting out far enough, so it's not centrally located. But in principle, I've got a solution, and the fan looks, well, yeah, it's definitely running out on that centre boss. So that means, I guess, that I haven't got that. I noticed that that bush was sitting in a little, but I'm a little puzzled. But it'll be interesting to see what happens and whether this is drawing more air or not. Back in the workshop again, when I pulled this off, the spacer had fallen out, or the bush, and I can't find it. So I'm trying to make another one. And it now sits in there and doesn't come out. So let's see how we go with that. Well, second time lucky, not third time lucky. So with that spacer in there, it's screwed it up, and wasn't a big deal. And in fact, I think that the second bush was better. It was just a little tighter. So we've got the smoke machine, and I haven't got the cowling on, so I'll just be interested to see how much that affects it. Alright, so stand back further. Stand back further, Caroline. Yeah, it's going straight in. Lift it up higher. Actually, stop. It seems to be sucking through, but it's not actually pulling through the radiator all that well, which is kind of what we expect without the cowling. Just do it again. Yeah, we're getting a cloud inside the front and it's not pulling through the radiator. Okay, stop. So I will make the cowling again and put it in, and we'll see where we end up.